Hello, I've got to share this ASAP because the lighting is almost gone, and it just occurred to me the new thing that's been happening. I'm like, oh yeah, I forgot, I gotta talk about it. So this is so cool. So I started maybe a month ago now, so that's how long I've been working on this. Basically I decided it is time to be able to control my mind, but I don't like the word control. I just don't like the connotations associated with it. So it's like, it's time to manage my thoughts, manage my mind, put myself in the manager position of my mind. And so I am now able to differentiate, okay, because I did that, because I decided that, then situations, have come into my life to kind of give me little steps along to progress on this very thing. So the one thing that came to mind that's been so helpful to just really show me, like, what does it really mean to actually be in that manager position of the mind. Okay, I'll just tell you what it is, and then yeah. So I went into the woods, like I love doing, but I don't do it as much as I want to. Anyway, I went into the woods. I found this tree. I decided it was one of my favorites, and so what I like to do is just lean against it and just kind of feel the peace that comes over me when I do that. But this time was different because I had made that decision. I want to be able to manage my mind and my thoughts. I decided, oh, I'm controlling my thoughts or whatever. But anyway, so I felt a new type of energy from this tree that I hadn't before. And so basically I'm leaning against the tree, and just my whole mind filled, it was almost like it was pouring in, just really slowly and peacefully and gently, it was so gentle, just pouring in this very, very light, peachy color, kind of like anyway, it was this light peachy color just filling my mind just a little bit, and then it became even more lighter, like a very pastel, so it was almost white but not quite, but that color filled my mind, and it was like it cleared my mind completely, and I just held myself in that space as long as I could do it, because it was the most peaceful moment. And like this tree, and all I was doing was tapping in to what the tree experiences all the time. And I knew that was what was happening, because as I was tapping into that, it was like the knowledge was there that, like, the tree is like, this is just how I experience life. And it was just so peaceful and wonderful, no thoughts. And so then I'm like, all right, I'm done, I'm going home. So I start walking away from the tree, and as soon as I get like 3 steps away, like a thought occurs to me, and another thought occurs to me, and another thought. It was like 3 thoughts, and I could tell that I was like separated from the thoughts themselves. It was like the thoughts were hovering, right? They were like hovering around, and I could sense. It was like, oh, so cool, so freaking cool. I could sense that the thoughts were asking me to think about them. Like, they weren't directly like, hey, can you think about me? That's not what I mean. I mean, I could feel that was there. It was like these thoughts were just what they are. They're just pieces of information that are just floating around on the web of consciousness. It's like the internet. These pieces of information are just floating all around, and you can choose to grab onto one and think about it. Like, I can click on that web page and read all about it, right? And the thoughts that were, hovering around me are familiar to me because they are ones that I think about a lot. And I already knew, I was like, oh, that's a thought that I think a lot. But that's weird that now I feel separate from it, because normally before the tree moment, I would feel like, oh, a thought occurs to me, I think about it because that's something that I think about. And so I associate that thought with who I am and what I am, and like, oh, I'm the one who's thinking it. But after the tree, it was like medicine. Tree medicine. Wow. That's a new thing too. I haven't been able to understand, like, what do you mean medicine? Like animal medicine, I get like plant medicine, like that makes sense to me because you're taking it into your body. But the tree medicine that they gave me was just tuning into the experience of the tree itself. And it cleaned my mind. It was like this gift, because that's part of the journey that I'm on. So then, only then could I really differentiate that thoughts are just kind of there as like an option. And my mind loves to think because like that's just fun. It's like, this is just something my mind likes to do. And I love to think about something. I like having something to think about. And so these thoughts are just like, we're here. You can think about us, if you want to. But in that moment after the tree, I was like, I'm not even going to choose those. I'm just going to. And so I was holding the moment as much as I could, just like, but without force. It wasn't about control. It wasn't about holding on. It was just about going into the peaceful state for as long as I could allow that. Those are better words, because the controlling, the holding on, like that's the opposite of what is effective for this, is like the tree meditation. So, and yeah, I'm all about the tree right now because that's for me. There's plenty of ways to clear your mind, and that I now have a new one. I'm so excited because I had a couple other ways that I like to clear my mind, and this is a new one. So, but the thing is, it's like, and I told myself, I was like, we're gonna have to go back to this tree like often, because my mind's just has this habit, of like, oh, well, there's all these thoughts, I want to get them, I want to get all the thoughts, and I'm going to carry them with me, I want to think about them. But now, okay, so that was my first experience of that. Now, the newest thing that happened 2 nights ago, oh my gosh, I'm starting to see this. It kind of showed up again, where I was feeling low, and like lower feelings were setting in, and I was like, oh, I'm just gonna, I had this moment where I realized the thoughts that were coming up as like, they were like suggestions. It kind of reminded me of like that moment after the tree, where like the thoughts were like approaching me, and they're like, hey, here it is. And I felt separated from it, which like normally I'm like, oh, I'm thinking these things. This is who I am. This is what I am. This is what I'm feeling. These are words that describe how I feel right now, right? And they were lower. And I say low, like, oh, I feel low. I feel sad. I felt sad and just mostly sad. So, but in that moment, again, I could tell, I was like, oh, those are just thoughts. Like, they're not actually who and what I am. And I don't have to even hold on to them by thinking about them. The only way that you hold on to a thought is by thinking it a second time. Like, you'll have a thought cross your mind, right? It's like crossing your mind, and you have a choice. Well, it doesn't always feel like you have a choice, but I'm on this mission now where I'm like, I have to actively choose. And at first it was difficult, but I have my goal in mind. So it was like going to the tree showed me like, that's part of my goal, having the ability to just be like, I'm choosing. Like, I want to be able to choose. And so I haven't been able to choose the thoughts, because the thoughts, it's just such a habit that I just think about it more. Like, you think about it more than once and then it's in there. That's kind of how it works for me. And the light is just going darker, but whatever. It's like a thought will cross your mind. You have that option, if in that very moment, to like release it and understand that it's not you. Like, it may be describing exactly how you're feeling right now, but I'm trying to like not think about it. But thinking about it a second time, it's like it can come across once. Like, okay, my thought, I had it once. If I think about it twice, it's like I've hooked in, and now it's probably going to keep, going in the variations of that idea. It's like one idea, and you could explain the idea like 10 different ways. So there you've got 10 different thoughts that want to come up. So anyway, part of what's going to be helpful, I know, is just doing my best to, I'm trying to like plan a strategy right now, but I'm not going to do that because I don't know. But I just wanted to share that with you, that like, basically, you make a decision, you start out, you're like, okay, I want to be able to do this now, this new thing, which I chose. I wanted to control my thoughts. But now I see, I'm calling it, I want to manage my mind, because my mind is what is here. This is how I'm seeing it. My mind is here. The thoughts are just floating around, okay? I'm not going to control those. Those are just floating around on the internet, right? They're just floating around in consciousness, in the sea of consciousness that is all around us. The thoughts, I'm not going to control them. They're doing their own thing. But my mind, I will manage my mind, right? And so this is the part of me that I can manage, and I can say, no, I don't need these thoughts. Those aren't me. I don't need them right now. If I happen to be thinking them, like, I'm not going to be mad at myself for it. But I just know that, like, okay, I have a goal to get to the point where I can manage my mind very well. And I really think that's going to help in the long run, because that's where I'm at. I'm ready, right? So anyway, thank you for listening, and I hope that it has inspired your journey in whatever you're doing. And I will see you here next time.